evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's stream. Put on some webcam, shall we? There we go. Welcome, welcome. Tonight is, of course, the first night of Night of the Zealots. So we have a pouch for us. That there I don't think I need right now. That's just with the achievement list and everything. Alright. We need that. And we need that. Actually, I need to double check that just to make sure that everything is as it should be. Knowing my luck, it's not. Alright. Let me at least grab these. Alright, and I can pop those there. I have my two decks. Put that there for the moment. What do I need? What I need to do is double check. Right, yep, that's all good. Night of the Zealot campaign guide. Okay, sure. What do I put with that? Would you stop it, please? No. Alright, so just bear with me. I might have to make a new scene. So I might be able to get away with it with this. Which webcam is that? Alright, no. Add. Media source maybe. No, image source. Browser source. I should have sorted this sooner. No, that's not what I need. Go away. Oop-doop-doo. That's what I want. Let's see what it's gonna do. No, would you... Go away. Stop it. You should not be showing any of that. That is what I want you to show me. Well, okay. That's still not what I need, really, is it? Oh well. That'll do for now. I'll fix that so that next time it shows up properly. This is kind of just so y'all can see what I'm seeing. Huh, interesting. Fine, I'll go down the corner like this. Expand that out a bit more. Welcome to Live's tech support. Yeah, we'll add that. Just shrink you down. Whoa. Really? Come on. There we go. There's my face. We don't have any chat box there, but that's fine. We don't need that. So. That's that sorted at the very least. Back to this. So we'll go back to the PDF in a moment. I just need to make sure that I have everything here set up, and oh no, this is not right. I'm glad I checked this. This is wrong. We're gonna playing on standard difficulty, because I would like a challenge. So -4, -3, 2 skulls. The tome, the skull, the auto success, the auto fail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, -4, -3. 2 -2s. 3 -1s. 2 zeros and a +1. Alright, actually no. So that's actually fine. So, that there is what is affectionately known as the Chaos Pouch. It's meant to be like a cup or something, but basically you put those tokens in because those are how you will perform actions in this game. Whenever you perform tests or anything, you put your hands into the cup or bag or some opaque container. And it will and you pull out the tokens and that's how you check if you pass a skill test or not. I'll be doing this a little off screen, but there are 2 types of tokens in here. Doom and Clue. Green is Clue, and the red and black are Doom. So the Doom is kind of how it tracks, like in other Arkham games. And this brown crate are your resources. They'll have different names. They could be resource, they could be secrets, they could be charges, depending on the type of card that's used. But they're generally what you use for currency and for tracking things on abilities. Hey, ba-doo, so we'll just pull all of these out. Normally I would have one of the other players at the table helping me with this, but unfortunately I am the only player, so that's not going to happen. Right, that. So obviously we still need to, as I said from yesterday, I still need to put the random basic weaknesses into the deck, or into each of the decks. The decks also need to be shuffled. So we will sort that. Excuse me. Sorry, my condition is kind of playing up today, which is not fun in the slightest. In the other crates that you can see is health and sanity tokens. So as you take HP damage and sanity damage, you'll take from those. So there's ones that are worth 1 damage, ones that are worth 3 damage. Or 3 sanity. There was kind of mention, I may have mumbled it yesterday, but there are things called trauma. Trauma works slightly differently. So whenever you die, whenever you get defeated by a certain type of damage, unless it's stated otherwise, you don't die in this game. You will take a trauma, which basically means in subsequent scenarios you start with however many points of trauma as damaged instantly. So for instance, Carolyn Fern has 6 health and 9 sanity. If she was to be defeated by sanity damage or horror, then you would take 1 point of trauma damage. And then in any subsequent missions that you would do with Carolyn Fern and the deck that you have made, she would start with a point of trauma. So that's kind of what's going to happen. My hope, this is a rather large hope, is that I can make it to the final mission. And I can win. If I manage to win, and neither of these two are devoured, I will be taking their decks into the next campaign. What that will mean is that they will start with the physical and mental traumas they've carried over. It's part of kind of the exchange for going in with a more powerful deck. So it's kind of a trade-off. There are also side missions that can be done, which I won't be doing a roll for. I will be putting up onto the Discord, and I'll reiterate this at the end of the mission because we might do one for the next stream. But I will put up a selection of missions that can be done that fit thematically with this. So if the mission is like based in or near to Arkham, Massachusetts, then yeah, we will do that. Though like time wise, it's like this first campaign is meant to happen in a single night. Like literally once you finish the first scenario, it instantly goes into the next. Alright, so we'll put that there. The Chaos Bag will come off screen, and it will come back on screen whenever I need to pull anything from there. Actually, poke those up there. It's a little out the way. No, actually no, they'll come over to my side here. And them being here, at least they're within reach. I'm not reaching over the playing area. Let's bring some illumination. Just illuminating my face more than anything else. Put that up there. We'll see what kind of space that we're working with. Don't you start playing up. Alright. Back to this. Okay, so The Ghoul's Hunger. Friday, September 18, 1925, Arkham, Massachusetts. It is the end of a long and abnormally hot summer. The first hints of autumn beckon, but a heavy heat persists, relentless. A silent, unspoken anger grips the town. Tempers are short, and in the last week alone there have been numerous reports of townspeople coming into heated, violent blows with one another over simple misunderstandings. And now, a call from James Harkinson. He claims to have found a dismembered body in his barn. Blaming the weather would be too easy. There is something wrong with this town, and not a whole lot of this old soothsayer can do to stop the slide. My auguries indicates a small group of investigators will soon take note of these strange happenings and set forth to make things right. I'll be watching their progress, but I won't hold their breath. I won't hold my breath. Alright, so it's kind of just going over the things, saying about what the game's like, so the campaign's set up. We've chosen the investigators, we've assembled the decks, and we've chosen the difficulty. We're going for a standard difficulty. And the chaos bag, we have put the stuff in. So we're now ready to set up the gathering. Okay. Sorry, I'm just texting the other half. I know it's a little unprofessional. So before we get started with that, so we don't need these. I'm not going to worry about the achievements. We'll have a look and see if we've done any at the end of the stream. I very much doubt we will. You won't be able to see these. Just yet, board game. Thank you. Is it in this one? Yep. Alright. Put those face down because those are all non-basic. Put that in there. Alright, so these are all of the basic weakness cards. There's a lot of them. So we'll just, I'm going to do Amanda's first. So there's no reports of impropriety with this. And I don't take from the top. No, we'll take from the middle. We'll take this one. I'm just going to pop it on top because I do need to do a proper shuffle of those decks anyway, because they're still in their normalish order. I'll just shuffle this again. So I've got no idea, because I know that there are like some duplicates of these cards, so we'll just do that just so they're out of possible orders. And then this one's kind of screaming at me. There. Alright. So, we do not know what we've got. And as we progress through the stories, through the campaigns, you can end up pulling more. So, what I'm just going to do... Just gonna mix things up a little. Okay, just shuffle these some more. And because I obviously know that it's on the bottom currently, let's pop. Now next I want to make sure that the deck is the right way up. So there's that, and we'll just... Alright, so that's the way up. So that there are the top of the cards. And the lead investigator will be... So this is actually important. So basically the lead investigator is the one that picks basically what happens throughout the campaign. Amanda. What I might do is I may put the investigators down this side, kind of the same way that I've done it with Imperial Assault. Alright, so the decks are now finished. And with that, down there. We don't have anything to signify that Amanda is the lead investigator. Amanda is the lead investigator, but she will be. So basically, the lead investigator is anytime that there is a decision that has to be made that kind of affects the entire group, it will normally be down to the lead investigator to make that decision. There's meant to be like unspoken rules that you kind of pseudo roleplay this a little bit. You're kind of meant to be your own characters. You're not meant to see each other's hands. You're not meant to know each other's hands. You can't blatantly turn around and say, so like if you had, say, a fire axe, you can't turn around and say, I have a fire axe, I will deal with that monster. It'd be like, you can only say, it's like, oh, I have something that will be able to help you out on your turn. So don't worry about things. I can deal with certain things. You can't outright say what it is, but you can like drop very heavy hints. Alright. And obviously we have the character portraits. So these small portraits go with the locations. They are double-sided, so you've got a coloured side and like a black and white side. The black, you flip them over when you performed all of your actions. You get 3 actions a turn. And as well, it's split up into multiple things, so we'll kind of go over them. So there's rule cards here. It's kind of hard to see, but they're double-sided. One has actions that can be performed, and one has the round sequence. First off, let's at the very least get everything kind of set up. So we'll go back to this. So there's this. It says, please do not read until the end of the scenario. So we will not be reading that. We will be trying not to read that. So please try and avoid reading it if you can. I know that it is there, but we try not to. We probably shouldn't try and read it. So anyway, the campaign log. The campaign log on the back of this cover is used to track the progress. We'll show you what the campaign log looks like. Campaign guide. Are you gonna open? Really? Oh, I want to be able to open. No. Let me see if this works. Boop. Yep, there we go. So this is a campaign log. This is the campaign log, I should say. You know what, whatever. So you kind of, I need to get an editor, so I might look into acquiring one, but, you know, it costs. And I'm being cheap at the moment. So you throw in your player name, so that would be my name, Gronzi, and then your investigator. So in this particular case, we would have Carolyn Fern and Amanda Sharp. Unspent experience. So you do gain experience for completing campaigns, and we will go over that. Like I said, there is one card in Carolyn Fern's deck that does give an experience point. Trauma. That's what I was saying about if you die to physical damage or to mental damage, you take a physical or mental point of trauma. There are other ways of acquiring those as well. And then earned story assets and weaknesses. So while we've seen that there's the basic weakness, those wouldn't be added here, but if there is a weakness or an asset that you acquired from basically just playing through the story, and there's a chance we might pick one up in the first one of this, then you would note it down here which characters have picked up what things. Then down here you've got a little checklist, so we've got the Gathering, then there's the Midnight Masks, then the Devourer below. There are some campaign notes, so like we were debating whether we wanted the one of the tomes or something in there, we could put it in, we note it down in there. There's cultists that we have interrogated and cultists that got away, so that there will play into effect later. And then killed and insane investigators. So if you were to go back to the trauma and the physical and mental, if we say look at put this up to the camera this time. If we look at Carolyn's, she's got 6 HP and 9 mental points. If you were to acquire enough physical trauma that you would start a campaign with 0 HP, then you have been killed due to physical. You have been killed. If you take enough mental trauma that you start with 0, sanity, then your hero or your investigator has gone insane. Okie dokie. So, yes. At the end of each scenario, players must record their results by entering all of the relevant information in the campaign log. This includes experience earned by an investigator, each investigator's trauma level, story assets, weaknesses earned by each investigator, and any killed or insane investigators. So the thing with the experience is you can use experience to purchase new cards and upgrade cards, but you can never go above your deck requirements. You can also use experience, as I was saying about there are the side missions. You can use the experience to purchase access to those side missions. Doing so, you have a chance of earning more experience, but you also have a chance of earning unique rewards that can only be found in those scenarios. But also, if you gain any weaknesses or if you suffer any physical or mental trauma, those carry over as well. So it's a two-edged sword. You kind of got to play it by ear. So during the resolution of any scenario, the players are often instructed to record any important story notes in the campaign log onto campaign notes. So yeah, we'll go over that as well. These notes will often be referenced in later scenarios, allowing decisions from one scenario to carry over into later scenarios. If the players are instructed to cross out one of these notes, the crossed off note is ignored for the remainder of the campaign. So, Part 1, The Gathering. You and your partners have been investigating strange events taking place in your home city of Arkham, Massachusetts. Over the past few weeks, several townspeople have mysteriously gone missing. Recently, their corpses turned up in the woods, savaged and half-eaten. The police and newspapers have stated that wild animals are responsible. But you believe there is something else going on. You gather together at the lead investigator's home to discuss these bizarre events. So, we're going to be setting up. So we gather all the cards from the following encounter sets: The Gathering, Rats, Ghouls, Striking Fear, Ancient Evils, and Chilling Cold. So we're going to be taking all of these. Don't need the Midnight Masks. We don't need this. Don't need this yet. Alright, so they said ghouls. We're just going to keep this simple, so that's fine. So you can see that, obviously, it's got those symbols. In the Return to the Knights of the Zealot, there are ones that have, and in all of the Return ones actually, they all have ones that have like black background on the symbols. Is it Chilling Cold? Yep, Chilling Cold. And those signify like alternate cards that you can kind of mix in and like mix things up, but we'll keep it nice and simple. Striking Fear. Yep, Striking Fear is needed. Ancient Evils as well. Okay, so we've got Rats, we've got Ghouls, we've got Striking Rats, Ghouls, Chilling Cold, Striking Fear, Ancient Evils. Alright. So we have all of the cards that are currently needed. So I will pop those on there. Put the study location into play. Set each other location aside and out of play. Each investigator begins in the study. So, and then we need to set the ghoul priest and Lita Chandler to one side. Out of play. Shuffle the remaining encounter cards to form, from the previously gathered encounters to form the encounter deck. Alright, and that's the end of the setup. So we are done for now. So, we will pop that to one side. Let me just... Just need to make sure that this is all good. So nice and shuffled, so we don't just get like all of the enemies straight out the gate, because that there would be annoying. Oh, look. Apparently we have links for if I want to be famous or not. What fun! Thank you, but no thank you. So if I remember correctly, so when we get through the encounter deck gets kind of shuffled again. But if you run out of cards in your player deck, well, tough luck, you've run out of cards in your player deck. Alright, so pop that into the middle there. So there are two types of story card. So we'll put the counter deck here, or the Mythos deck. So there are acts and agendas, which are signified by these cards here. They kind of like read like a book. You can see here, there's a number here, that's number 3, so that basically means when 3 Doom is on here, this advances. Here is, it's a number with a little investigator symbol. It's kind of hard to see. There's a little symbol beside it. Let me see if I can show you better on this cam. a little better. But basically what that signifies is that is 2 times the number of investigators at the table. So, for this particular match, we will be playing, because there is 2, that basically means that our act for this first round needs 4 clues. Clues will appear on the locations. So, I will be running these like kind of side by side down here. Unfortunately, with the setup as it is, unfortunately can't see it, but I will put my discard piles beside it. So we'll quickly go over the round order before we get started. So rounds are split into 4 different phases. The mythos phase, the investigation phase, the enemy phase, and then the upkeep phase. During a normal game, you will always in the first round you will skip the mythos phase. So the mythos phase places 1 doom on the agenda. Then you advance the agenda if the doom threshold is satisfied. So doom threshold would be equal to or over what is on the card. Then each investigator draws 1 card from the top of the encounter deck. Next will be the investigation phase, and that's when the investigators can take their turns. You take all 3 of your actions, and then it goes to the next investigator. Well, you can take up to 3 actions. You don't have to take all 3, but you have to do them all at the same time. We'll go over what actions that you can do in a moment. So then you got the enemy phase. So the enemies with the hunted keywords moved towards the nearest investigator. Also, sometimes they'll have keywords like prey, where they'll only prey on a certain investigator that meets their criteria. As similar with Imperial Assault, you have the rule, you have like the worst rule or something like that is called. And basically, whatever the worst outcome would be, that is what happens. Then each engaged enemy attacks if they are able. You then have the upkeep phase, which you reset actions, so you would flip the mini cards over. You ready all exhausted cards. Each investigator draws 1 card and gains 1 resource. Then each investigator checks hand size, discards down to 8 cards. So yeah, you can have 8 cards in hand at maximum. I can't remember. I am fairly certain that you start with I'm gonna have to get the rules just so I can remind myself of that. But I believe learn to play. We'll download this anyway, just because we can. You should start, you draw 5 cards, and I think you also get 5 resources to start, so that you can do things. Drop that in there. Yep. Know that. Okay, so choose the investigators. Yes, 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 yes. Assemble the token pools. Yep, we've done that. Take starting resources. So, each investigator takes 5 resources from the pool and place it next to his or her cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, I pulled out exactly 10. Nice. Draw your opening hand, so each investigator draws 5 cards from his or her decks. If there are any weakness cards drawn at any point during this step, set it aside. Instead of adding it to your hand, draw an additional card, shuffle the weaknesses back into your deck. So we'll start with Carolyn Fern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we didn't pull any. That's not a bad hand. We got two assets, 2 events, and a skill. That's actually a very good kind of spread of things. So yeah, we will keep that opening hand. Carolyn Fern. I probably shouldn't put it there because there's going to be my discard section. Put them there. And then we'll do the same for Amanda. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we have? Ooh, okay, yeah. I mean, we'll take it. It's not great, but it will work. So we've drawn the opening hands. Yeah, you can like mulligan as well. Alright, that's just kind of going over that. Alright. I may have to refer to stuff like that in a bit, but we'll see. Excuse me. So, we're now at a point of where we can start. So I will begin by reading the current act and agenda. So, it is late at night. You are holed up in your study, researching the bloody disappearances that have been taking place in the region. A few hours into your research, you hear the sound of strange chanting coming from your parlour down the hall. At the same time, you hear dirt churning, as if something were digging beneath the floor. As you leap to investigate, the door to your study vanishes before your eyes, leaving beyond only solid wall. You're trapped inside your study until you can find another way out. And we have the study. So each of these cards are double-sided. So whenever you go to a place, there is a little padlock, and that is what you need on the front. When you enter a place, you turn it over, and then things happen. So, you've been investigating the strange events occurring in Arkham for several days now. Your desk is covered with newspaper articles, police reports, and witness accounts. The door to your study has vanished. And so there are 2 values here. There is a dark value up here and then there's a value over here. This value here signifies how many clues are on there, and it is currently 2 times the number of investigators. So there are 4 clues, and would you happen to know we need 4 clues to get the to advance the agenda. And the other number is the shroud value. Which is what you need to beat when you do an investigation. To try and get those clues. So, the actions that you can take during your turn. Each investigator can take up to 3 actions during his or her turn. The actions may be taken are draw 1 card or gain 1 resource. Play an event or asset card from your hand. Fast cards do not count as an action to play. Activate an arrow ability card on a card. Move to a connecting location. Investigate your location. Fight or engage an enemy at your location. Attempt to evade an enemy engaged with you. Little lightning bolt or like a circle and an arrow. Card abilities do not cost an action to activate. If you're engaged with an enemy and spend an action to do anything other than fight or evade or activate a parlay or resign ability, the enemy engaged with you makes an attack of opportunity. So there are a number of stats that can come into play. You have willpower, you have knowledge, you have might, and you have speed. Amanda has 2s across the board, or Carolyn has 3, 4, 2, and 2 respectively. Your might and your speed come into effect when you're trying to fight and flee, and some other skill tests may require you to use those attributes. Your willpower normally is to do with spells and the such, and your knowledge will normally be used for investigations. So we will start with Amanda, I guess, and she gets her 3 actions. So off the get-go, we will spend 1 resource and she will equip a knife. Yeah, you can just about see it down here. Then for her next 2 actions, she'll be trying to grab 2 of those clues. So for an investigation, the skill check will be 2, and it's against my knowledge, and hers is 2, so it's evens. What I should say is because each campaign, we should say, has their own little info card at the start, which gives special effects to some of the special tokens that are in the bag. In this particular case, with the skull is you get -X, where X is the number of ghoul enemies and your location. The cultists is -1. If you fail, you take 1 horror. And then the tablet is -2, and if there is a ghoul and your location, you take 1 damage. I'm not going to commit a card to this test. So we just put our hands in the pouch and we pull a card. We got -1. So we failed. But there is no repercussions. So she's going to try again. And we pull -2. So we failed once again. So Amanda failed to acquire any of those clues. That is a shame. But she is equipped with a knife. So now we'll go on to Carolyn's turn. Oh yeah, we've got the sword cane. We don't need steadfast at this point. The fingerprints might be worth pulling. Alright, yeah, so we will, at the very least, spend 4 resources to play the fingerprint kit. It has 3 supplies, so we'll put 3 of those onto the card. And then we will we'll use one of those supplies, and then we exhaust the fingerprint kit. I get +1 knowledge for this, so it's at 5 now. For this investigation, if you succeed, discover 1 additional clue at your location. So, right, let's pull something good. Skull, which is 0, because there are no ghouls at this location currently. So, that there is 2 clues. Oh god, I've got to do this. At the start of your investigation phase, draw 1 card. I did not do Amanda's thing. So we should probably do that. Will it change what I was doing? Now let's throw this underneath Amanda. My bad. Oh, it was out of order, but, you know, it is what it is. So that was my second action. And then do I want to do that? Yeah. We'll then play the event card Drawn to the Flame. So that requires me to take the top card from the encounter deck. Ah, look. That is a monster card. But it has to be spawned in the attic. The attic currently isn't in play, so it's discarded. It kind of gets fast, I believe. Or surge or something. Here we go. So, Ghoul Minion. So what that would do is that would engage me. But we do gain the 2 clues. And then, basically at any point, as long as it's the investigation phase, you can still spend your clues to advance the act. It doesn't cost anything, doesn't trigger any attack of opportunities. So that is what we're going to do, I believe. So I do not want to deal with the ghoul. So we'll spend all of the clues that we've gathered so far, and we'll flip the act. So, you notice that the edges of your newly purchased rug are tattered and mud-stained. Finding this odd, you shift your furniture aside and pull back the rug. To your surprise, you see the door leading out of your study. You slowly turn the knob and the door swings open, revealing your hallway below. You jump through the doorway, landing on your feet. Landing on your feet on soft dirt. The door to the study slams shut above you, and the smell of burning wood fills the narrow hallway, intermingled with the scent of rot and decay. So, then there are a number of actions that need to be taken. So we need to put the set aside hallway, cellar, attic and parlour into play. So we'll just pop that up there for the moment. So we have the hallway, the parlour, the attic, and the cellar. And we'll do that. Discard each enemy that was in the study. Place each investigator in the hallway. Let's put us here. I was meant to flip them over, but I didn't. Remove the study from the game. And so that act has been completed. So we'll just pop that over there. So, the barrier. A glowing barrier blocks the path to your parlour. As you move towards it, intense heat forces you to back away. Picking up a handful of dirt, you toss it at the barrier and watch in horror as the dirt incinerates. Perhaps there is something in the cellar or attic that can help. Objective. When the round ends, investigators in the hallway may, as a group, spend the required number of clues to advance. So that there has been resolved. And we have some flavor text on the hallway. A moment of panic and disorientation strikes you as you land upon the floor of the hallway. The world spins as if turned on its head. The walls of your house are splattered with mud, and your hardwood floor is gone, replaced with a dirt path. So we have some flavor text for the attic. So the smell of rotten meat assails your nostrils as you approach the attic stairs. And for the cellar, the stairs leading down to your cellar are slick, and they glisten with a thin layer of ice. And for the parlour, the entrance to the parlour is blocked by a darkly glowing, unfathomable barrier, and you cannot move into the parlour. You're unsure what would happen if you tried to cross the threshold of the strange barrier, but based on the extreme heat, you sure as hell don't want to try. Alright, so I mean, that was the third action with doing the Drawn to the Flame. So now we're in the enemy phase. Well, there currently are no more enemies on the field, which is always good. So, the upkeep. Reset action, so you flip all the mini card. You ready all exhausted cards. There's only one to be readied, which was the fingerprint kit. Each investigator draws one card and gains one resource. 1 and 1. And Amanda gains plan of action. And Carolyn being a weeb is not like the plague. I don't know what you're talking about. And Carolyn gains Grim Fairy Tales. There is nothing wrong with being a weeb. It's the same as there's nothing wrong with being a jock, or similar. Whatever you want to call it from wherever you're from. Everybody is different. So, and then you check your hand size to make sure you don't have 8 or more cards. And no, we don't. 5 for Amanda, and I think it should be 4. Yes, for Carolyn. So, Mythos phase. You place 1 Doom on the agenda. The threshold has not been met, so you do not advance Doom. I am doing very well, thank you very much. How are you doing today, Tanner? Thank you for once again joining. Each investigator draws 1 card from the top of the encounter deck. So we'll start with Amanda. Card she's drawn is a swarm of rats. So they will engage, they won't attack. And Carolyn draws Obscuring Fog. Revelation. Attached to your location. Limited to once per location. The attached location gets +2 Shroud. Forced. After the location is successfully investigated, discard Obscuring Fog. That's actually a really good place for it, because there are no clues here. Ah, very nice. God, I still need to sort that. I am slacking. I got distracted and work got in the way today, so I wasn't able to do it. Alright, so first things first. So Smite does have anime as well. Smite is just an anime fest. There are a number. It's very anime-esque in a lot of its heroes and how some of them are done. So, alright, who are we going with first? Who would be best to start this round? Neath, Cooch, yeah. Thor obviously has the tier 5 skin, which is Gundam based. Trying to think who else. The whole BP? Battle Pass, do you mean? I know that they gave they done a Ruby collaboration what, about 6 months ago, I think. So the Rooster the collaboration with Rooster Teeth. We weren't particularly, me and my friend weren't particularly enamored of it because we were a fan of Ruby, so we were hoping that they put in those characters as actual characters rather than just skins for other characters. I mean, are people liking the Turtles one? Yeah, bring that down a little bit. Because it's obviously it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, that was another thing that I'd heard that they'd done. Is they picked the wrong gods for it. It's kind of hard to work out. I mean, who did they give Ruby to? They didn't give it to Thanatos, did they? Because he would have been the obvious one, because he has a scythe. um, so what we want to do is we do want to try and get out of where we currently are. So it costs us a point to move to each place, but I want to make sure that I've got the resources to do what I need. So if we take... Do we move? So we're going to go with Carolyn first. Because Amanda is kind of a little screwed with the swarm of rats nipping at her feet. So if we move to the attic with Carolyn. Shumph. So there are symbols on... Blake was Amaterasu, Ruby Rose was Thana, Weissney was Freya, Yang Xiao was Terra. Thanatos was expected. I mean, Terra's not a bad choice, as she is a melee character. Weishni and Freya probably wasn't the right choice. Blake and Amaterasu wasn't correct either, I don't think. But I kind of understand Freya, because obviously she has the Freya has a polar bear as an accompaniment for her, or was it a wolf? It was a wolf, wasn't it? I'm trying to think. It's been a while, and they're not exactly characters that I use. Yeah. I mean, probably what would have worked maybe a little better is introducing some of the other characters as well. Like, Crow would have been a good Thanatos, seeing as he also uses a scythe as well. But then, where would you have put Ruby? Because there is no other scythe users in Smite at this point in time, I don't think. Anyway, so we've moved to the attic. So, Forced. After you enter the attic, take 1 horror. Ooh. So we have taken a point of horror on Carolyn. A lot of people like the current one, though. I don't, because all the skins look the same. Yeah, it's impossible to tell. There isn't really much of a difference you can tell with the turtles. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine the annoyance on that. So, the bloody carcass of a malformed beast sways from a meat hook chained to the ceiling. Blood drains slowly into the from the carcass, dripping into a small barrel. So this has a shroud value of 1, and it contains 4 clues, 2 times the number of investigators. 1, 2, 3, 4. It also has victory 1, which means if you clear all of the clues from that location. I have played D&D. I've played a few campaigns of it. I've played some other role-playing games as well. They're fun. I find it kind of a little harder to get into the RPing side of things, but I do try. The rolling dice is always fun. I have ungodly amounts of luck when rolling dice normally in those games. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can look at other places. As much as the effect annoys me, there's obviously Critical Role with the Matt Mercer effects. Poor Matt. I do feel for the dude. No, because I mean, the guys at Critical Role, they're now doing it all remotely. Um, some of the guys that join me in here, Chris, Clay, Davis, they're currently doing remote sessions for D&D all together, and Clay is doing his own thing with some of his other friends as well, and they're all doing it remote. When we done Darkness, like a World of Darkness, which is based on the Vampire Masquerade universe, that was all done remotely as well because I was taking part in that, and they're all over in the States. So it can quite easily be done over over the internet and everything. So it might be easier if you've got yeah, I mean, they may definitely be up for it. So I've been thinking for a little while of possibly picking up the Call of Cthulhu books and doing one of those and doing trying to see if I can get people interested in doing an RP in one of those settings, which could be interesting. So, um, but yeah, so the victory points on the cards, if you clear all of the clues off of it, you get 1 experience point at the end of a mission. So we'll look at trying to get as much experience as we possibly can. So we have moved location 1, so that's one of our actions. So we have 2 actions left. What do we have in hand? Alright, so that requires you to fail. So, let's have a look. I think we'll use the fingerprint kit again. So we'll spend 1 resource, exhaust that, and we've got a shroud value of 1 against the 5 we need for investigation, so we're kinda sitting pretty. There's only 1 token in here that can cause me to fail. And it's not that one. That is -1. If you fail, take 1 horror. We didn't fail. -1, that's 4. But we do gain 2 clues. Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on how you end up wanting to ask. What's going on over here? It's probably just you responding to me, isn't it? On said Discord. Alright, so that was our second action. So I could use the I got a card in hand that will allow me to gain all of those points and can read the signs. That's a little bit of overkill though. I might want to try and save it if I go down into the cellar. We might need it down there. So I'm just going to... I'm just going to do a normal investigation. So it's 4 against the 1, so it's still not too bad. Odds are still in my favour. And that is -0, so yep. We have acquired 3 of the 4 clues here. And the clues that we need to advance is 3 times the number of investigators, so we need 6 clues to advance through the barrier. So we're already halfway there. Whoa, we're living on a prayer. Alright, so that is Carolyn's turn. So it's now Amanda's turn. So at the start of the investigation phase... Oh, I should have done this at the start of the investigation phase, my bad. Draw 1 card. Interesting, okay. We discard the card that was underneath her. So we've discarded Guts. So now we need to decide on a card that we place beneath Amanda. When there are 3 or more Doom in play, gains question mark. When there are 6 or more, he gains double question mark. Nope, we don't need to do that at the moment. This skill test is in the this is in the 3rd. If it succeeds, draw 1 card. Completed by any investigator this phase. Alright, so we really would have wanted to go first. We wanted to use take the initiative, so that's no point now. So let us use... Yeah, let's pop plan of action underneath, I guess. At least that's not a waste. Oh wait, no, let's pop plan... Let's pop overpowered, because plan of action might come in helpful a little later. Alright, so at the start of a skill check you are performing, commit the card beneath Amanda if able to. Do not discard the card when it fails. Okay. The thing I miss in these games is toxic enemies. In which games? So for Amanda, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to attack the rats. We don't want them nibbling at my heels. The creature has 3 stats on it. You can kind of see it there. Card games. There are ones that I think in like later expansions that do like apply poisons and something. I think in there's one called the Forgotten Age, and I believe there are things that can poison you in that, and if you don't get it treated, it can have detrimental effects to you. So you've got 3 stats here. You've got the creature's fight, the creature's health, and then the creature's speed. So whenever you're fighting something, you will always go against... Whenever you're doing an action against it, you'll always go against the relevant stat. So if you're fighting it, you're competing against its fight stat. If you're evading it, you're competing against its evasion stat. So we're not going to evade the swarm of rats. We're going to fight the swarm of rats. And we're just going to use the knife's normal fight. So I get +1 fight for this. And I have to... commit the card underneath. So basically, whenever you're committing cards to a skill check, you put them face down. The investigator performing the check can, unless the card says otherwise, commit as many cards as they like to the skill check. Any investigator in the same location as you can only commit 1 card to your skill check. So we've committed 1 card, and we already know that it is the... It's Guts. Is it Guts? Oh, sorry, it was a card that was going to be beneficial for me fighting here. So, we currently are pulling from the Chaos Pouch. And we pull -1. So now we look. So we had a base of we had a base skill of 2, +1 from the fight, and then with the committed card, we had 2 from the overpower. So that in total is 5. 5 minus 1 is 4, which does beat the rats. And the rats only had 1 health, so they die. Yay, we have killed things. And then the rats go to the discard pile because they might end up coming back later. So that was my first action. Second action... we are going to... I'm going to move into the cellar, because we need to try and start getting those clues fairly quickly. So as we move into the cellar, after you enter the cellar, you take 1 damage. Basically, you slip down the stairs. So... your cellar seems to have been replaced with an underground network of icy tunnels and caverns. The cold air chills you to the core. So there are 4 down here. The shroud value is 4. 2, 3, 4. There are 4 clues down here. That is not Great. Oh, we get to draw a card because of overpower. Oh, we got my other Dark Prophecy. God damn it. Let us draw a card. Ooh, unexpected courage, okay. Alright, so that was that's action... Oh, wait, no. Yeah, okay. That was my third action. Whoops. Mistakes were made. The Dark Prophecy is good, but it takes a little bit to warm up. So it's got one question mark up in the top corner of the asset, which basically means you can use it as a wild skill. But where it comes into its when it becomes better is when there is 3 or more Doom in play, it gains another question mark. If there's 6 or more Doom in play, it gains 2 question marks. So that's a total of like 3 random, 3 wild tasks, or like the skills that you can use. So there's a reason why I've got it in the deck. Alright. I really shouldn't have pulled the card. I got confused. Yeah. I mean, I think that is that's a fair statement to make. That you would the games are more fun when you understand them. You kind of miss part of the opening of the explanation. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. But we have made it to the end of the investigation phase. So the enemy phase, we don't currently have any enemies on the field. So the upkeep, so reset all of your things, so you flip them face up. We didn't flip Amanda, but she would be face down, so you'd be flipped face up. Ready all exhausted cards. Each investigator draws 1 card and gains 1 resource. Obscure studies. Fast. Play when you initiate a skill test. Return the card beneath Amanda Sharp to your hand and place obscure studies beneath her. Cool. Okay. Nice. And then... Oh, no. Oh, no. Carolyn, we found her weakness. Kleptomania. Revelation. Put kleptomania into play in your area. Take control of an item, asset, or 2 resources from another player at your location. Then shuffle kleptomania into your deck. Force. At the end of your turn, take 1 horror. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, that's not good. I mean, technically, it's fine. I've been a multiplayer game. I didn't realize there were multiplayer ones only. If you draw one of your weaknesses, you do get to draw another card, though, so that is always good. Yeah, we got healing words. Nice. Okay. Um. Whoops. Looks like Caroline is a kleptomaniac. Fun fact, when I was younger, we had a shop near our house that sold all kinds of this shit. Card games like D&D, and AFC? And others. I don't know what AFC is. And every weekend they had big gatherings where they would play these kind of games all night long. When I was younger, I always wanted to play with them because I wanted to learn. But my parents said I was too young for it, which I understand. A bunch of games for grown-up men, kind of drunk. It's not good for the young child, but still. So, I mean, if it was a place worth its salt, like, yeah, it would, if it was in the evenings, they would require them to, like, that they would still allow for kids of a certain age to go there. Oh, of course. That's fair. So yeah, I mean, like I know, like it was a few years back, and the place is shut down now. But there's this one shop that I used to frequent where I started getting all of this from. And he used to do an evening on, I think it was like every Thursday. He would do an evening. It would cost you a little bit to get in, but if you were like, you'd have to be of like a certain age, like 15 or 16 or something like that, to get in, for that. But he also did do other days, like on a Saturday or a Sunday, they would hold things more for beginners, so that kids, so younger kids can go in and start learning and getting people into board games. Chances are, I mean, the place probably had a program like that. Just it's kind of then difficult because it does also mean that your parents gonna have to take the time. Yeah, okay. That there was gonna be purely for the adults then if it was around midnight. And I can understand totally why your parents wouldn't allow you to do it if it was at midnight and you're 8 years old. um, so we've drawn the cards. We need to check the hand size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's fine. We've got enough cards there. And then Carolyn 2, 4, 5. Yep, we're fine. It was a small group. They all had jobs, and they said they didn't had the time to run the store and do other stuff for children. The store was a hobby. Jesus, man. The thing is, you want to get kids involved in these things from a younger age. You get if you get them in younger, then they're more likely to carry it on into adulthood. And you're carrying it on into adulthood, they're more likely to get their kids involved. Going back that far, it's not that board gaming wasn't that. It may have been a little more fringe from where you are, but over here definitely wasn't that fringe. At that point, I'd already gone to conventions for it. I so there are pros and cons to both board games and online games, or just or like console games in general. Um, I mean that is fair. I mean, I know you've not said, but I do know where you're from purely from the from helping you with that laptop issue. Did you ever find a solution for your laptop issue? But yeah, I mean, board games are definitely more social because you're sitting there, you're like face to face with people, and you're talking. So you've got to really interact with people. That's probably a good shout. Is contacting Lenovo. They said it was dangerous or some shit. Yeah, they. To be honest, actually, yeah, they probably would because they'd be like, "No, you don't want to do that yourself. Let us do it. We'll sort you out, but it's gonna cost you," kind of thing. Um, if laptops are a little weirder, if you don't really know what you're doing with putting laptops. Look, don't start speaking Dutch. I don't understand it. I know a few Dutch words. My main office, or like the main area where my department works, is out of Amsterdam. So I've spent enough time over in Amsterdam over the last 5 years, 5 6 years. Mm. Yeah, I don't. I spent I spent about 6 or 7 months there, but it was on a temporary project, so I never needed to learn the language. Yeah, I mean that's if the I mean I might end up taking a holiday over there because I've got a few friends over there um from my work, but if my work allows for business travel, yeah, sure, I will let you know when I'm in the area. Given everything that's going on right now, they have turned around and said that business travel is likely to reduce because they've seen that it's not really needed. So, um, anyway, we're taking horror if we do not steal things. I do not know how old you are, though. I wouldn't be able to guess. My assumption would be probably mid 20s. I'd probably say you're probably somewhere in your mid 20s. It's very. Was I off? Damn. Well, happy birthday and congratulations. Jesus Christ. Fuck me, am I old? Jesus Christ. I was. I've spent 2 stints in Holland. Um, back when I had my first job back in like early 2000s. So yeah, about. Isn't the drinking age in Holland 18 though? I don't think you're like the I don't think you're like the US. Excuse me. Yeah, no, that's fair. To be honest, I don't drink beer anyway. I can't drink beer, actually, is a more accurate term. Where were we though? Mythos. We need to place a doom. We'll slowly continue doing this. So we're at 2 doom, 1 more doom, and the agenda will move forward. Um, the reason why is because the taste of beer will make me throw up badly. So I can't drink beer. It has been like that for as long as I can remember. So I just steer clear of it now. Um, and I am aware at how easily you can get weed, but I am not tempted by that in the slightest. So that there is of no consequence to me. Yeah, I'm fine with any other type of um, alcohol. Um, oh, I'm fine with the smell of weed and all of that. I just personally won't partake of it. This is likely to get as Tanner says, don't do weed. Um, this will likely get the channel banned. um, but that's for the wrong reason. It's not because the spells. Don't do weed because it's not legal in a lot of places. Just don't do drugs, kids. Thing is, I'm not in Amsterdam, but there are sometimes, but I'm there sometimes. And you walk at night in some certain areas. Yeah, no, I mean it is prevalent, heavily prevalent over there in Amsterdam. Obviously, with it being legal, there are obviously some areas in the United States now where, obviously, marijuana is legal on a state level at the very least. It's not legal on a federal level. That's a whole different kettle of fish. Um, I have been around it for the majority of my adult life. The windows get red and the weed smell gets very kind of strong. Well, I mean, yeah, depending on the certain areas you go into, yes. Um, but no, I've been around people that have smoked that. I prefer to pick and choose when I'm around people that do that, so I'm at least prepared for it. But yeah, back in like mid 2000s, I was in Amsterdam. I wasn't in Amsterdam. I was in the north of Holland, up in the Assen area for work. Um, so, oop. Anyway, so we've done that. So each investigator draws from the top of the encounter deck. So we'll start with Amanda. Grasping hands, revelation, test, feat. Feat 3, for each point you fail by, you take 1 damage. Wait. An old teacher once had a class trip to Amsterdam. They walked wrong, and late at night they came in a certain area called Wallen. You know, with the red windows and the chairs and the men. Which in 10 years, 10 years didn't know where. Oh, Jesus. Is that 10 years old or year 10 students? There's a slight difference there. So, at the very least, what we'll do is we will commit 1 card to this grasping hands test. So, decaying hands rise up from below and grasp and claw at your ankles. 10 years old. Okay, yeah, a lot of mad parents. A lot of mad parents. So, we've got speed of... oh, and this has to be committed as well, right? Don't worry about distracting. It's totally fine. This is going far quicker than I actually anticipated, so it's all good. Do not worry. And we've pulled out -1. So -1 on the feet gives me a speed of 1, but we have Unexpected Courage, which gives me 2 wild, and we had Overpower, which gives 2 fists. The fists don't matter. They're not going to add anything to this. Yeah, I mean, certain ones obviously do that. If you're talking about psychedelics, those definitely would force you to lose control. I mean, technically, you're losing control if you also drink alcohol. I mean, you can have that moderation to try and limit those effects, but you do kind of lose some amount of control whenever you're doing that. Same kind of with smoking. You kind of lose control. You don't really lose control. Your brain is altered on a chemical level. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's never good. If you have a particularly bad trip, it is it's the outcomes are never good. I mean, it really is each to their own. So I honestly don't fault you. I'm kind of in the same vein as you. I wouldn't do it. Not for fear of losing control, per se, but it is kind of the same as that I prefer to have a clear mind whenever I'm doing things, because my mind is overactive as it is. So I don't need anything that kind of can mess with that. So we got 2 from that. With the 1, we used the 2 wilds to make them feet, giving me 3, so we've passed the skill test. And with the Overpower, we do get to draw a card. But the Unexpected Courage is discarded. And the card we got... Oh, we got a Kukri. Nice. And that goes back into the bag. And then Carolyn pulls Ancient Evils. Oh, for God's sake. Place of Doom on the agenda. This effect can cause the current agenda to advance. Thank you, Carolyn. You're a kleptomaniac and you cause doom. Um, so, your house continues to change before your very eyes. The walls have decayed, and the ground in many rooms have turned to dirt. It's almost as if you have been transported somewhere else entirely, although every now and again you recognize elements of your former home. The lead investigator must decide. Choose one. Either each investigator discards one card at random for his or her hand, or the lead investigator takes 2 horror. What do we have? What do we have that can heal horror in my hand right now for Carolyn? We got the Grim Fairy Tales. I would think I would much rather just take the. All right, see you in a minute, man. I think I'd rather much just take the discarding of cards actually at random. So I'll just shuffle the deck. This is Amanda's hand. And Chris, if you are listening, as I saw that you had joined joined the stream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pick a card between 1 and 8. 1 being this card here. If you're listening, I'll give you about 10 seconds to decide. And this is obviously Caroline. 5. Thank you, Tanner. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 for Caroline. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we've lost plan of action. That is a little. That's okay. I was gonna say that for a little bit later, but it's fine. We can deal with that. What about for Carol Ann? 1 through 5. Plan of action isn't the worst card that could have been discarded. It's versatile in what it could do, depending on when it's used, gives different effects. That there was a little more of a sting. Read the signs would have been helpful because it would have given me a skill test of 7. Oh, dear me. Oh well, never mind. And you're right, so the next agenda. It's fine. Rise of the ghouls. The floor beneath you is giving way, and you see the vast network of tunnels twisting into the darkness below. Shapes and silhouettes of strange creatures move swiftly through the tunnels, trying to find a way up. You probably don't want to be here when they do. Okay, so we're into the investigator phase. Alright, so Amanda, we draw a card and we place a new card underneath. We discard overpowered. And we shall... Um... Let's put obscure studies underneath. Alright, so we have a card underneath Amanda. Do we activate Amanda first? So, need to think. So we've got kleptomania. Either way, we're gonna have to take some time to get things in order. We have a choice. Do I even have a hope in trying to get any of those clues? Yes, I do. So it's 3, 4, 5 against 4, but any minus ones will hamper me. There's still the minus 4, 3, and 2, which would hamper me, and the auto fail. But if we commit this, and obviously we have to commit the card underneath. So we're going to do another investigation while we're there. Really wish I have the flashlight. That there is -1. If you fail, take 1 horror. But we don't fail. This is the first action, so the take the initiative keeps all of its question mark modifiers. And we have the obscure studies. Which adds another 3, so we've got 6. Onto that, is 8 minus the 1 is 7, so we do gain the 1 clue. So obscuring studies goes back underneath. And that gets discarded. That goes back in the bag. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to move twice. 1, 2. And we'll bring her up here to the attic. She takes 1 horror for doing so, for coming into the attic. Right. Okay. That is Amanda's set of actions done. So now we have Carolyn's. So what she is going to do is, for her first action, we're going to activate Kleptomania, and she's going to steal 2 resources from Amanda. And then this gets shuffled back into my deck. Oh my god, that is at least I now know what her weakness is. God damn it, man. That is a harsh... It's not the worst, but it's not the best. Alright, so that was one action. Then she's just gonna take... Using her other two actions. Gonna go back down to the hallway, and then she's gonna go into the cellar, and then she's gonna take 1 point of 1 point of damage. Okay. That was a bit of an uneventful turn. There are no enemies, so we're fine there. So, reset all actions, flip all exhausted cards, that's fine. Each investigator draws 1 card and gains 1 resource. So, Amanda pulls Occult Invocation. As an additional cost to playing Occult Invocation, discard 2 cards from your hand. Fights. This attack does... uses books instead of fists. You get +1 book and +1 damage for this attack for each card you discarded as part of the card's cost. 2, 4, 6, 7. Okay, that's fine. And then I pulled Spectral Razors. Fight. You use your willpower for your value for the value for this skill attack. Immediately before this attack, you may engage an enemy. Engage the attacked enemy. This attack deals +1 damage, +2 instead if the enemy is non-elite. That's nice. That is a nice attack. Okay. And the hand size for Carolyn is fine. So, place 1 Doom on the agenda. Advance agenda if the threshold is met. Nope, because the threshold for this card is 7. So we have 7 rounds. Each investigator draws 1 card from the top of the encounter deck. So, Amanda first. Crypt Chill. Test Willpower 4. If you fail, choose and discard 1 asset you control. If you cannot, take 2 damage instead. Alright, so are we going to commit anything to this? There is Willpower Test. We've already got the 3 underneath, so that's 5. I wouldn't mind... I don't mind if we end up taking... If we end up having to lose the knife, because I do have the cookery in hand, and I do have another attack card in hand for Amanda. So we will just... we'll just take it as it is. So we commit the card underneath Amanda for this point. And then... we test Willpower 4. Oh, auto fail. It wouldn't have mattered. So yeah, obviously obscure studies. It goes back underneath. Crypt. We have to discard the knife, and Crypt Chill goes to the discard. Carolyn. Frozen in Fear. Put Frozen in Fear into play in your threat area. The first time you perform one of the following actions, move, fight, evade each round. It costs 1 additional action. At the end of your turn, test willpower 3. If you succeed, discard Frozen in Fear. Alright, that's fine. I have no intention of moving anymore from where I am for the foreseeable future. No, it's not going wrong per se. So the thing with Arkham Horror, do you know anything about Lovecraftian mythos? Alright, so that is all that done. So we're now back to the investigation phase. So, Amanda, first things first is we pull a card. Practice makes perfect. Fast. Plays during a skill test of your location. So that's the top 9 cards of your deck for a practice skill and commit it to the skill. If able, shuffle the remaining cards back into your deck after the skill ends. If it was successful, add the skill card to your hand instead of discarding it. Nice, okay. So, first things first is we have to discard the card here. So we have discarded. No worries, man. No worries. It happens. So with Lovecraftian mythos is basically there are a bunch of elder gods, or like there are like entities of like immense power that basically live outside of our reality that are trying to get in and destroy it. They usually get in because there are people that believe in them, that try and that worship them, that try and bring them into our reality. And basically, we're tasked with trying to stop these from happening. We're not tasked, we stumble upon them and then we just try and do it because it's the 1920s. You can do anything in the 1920s with a bit of moonshine. So what's currently happening is actually the best scenario. It is not going badly by any sort. This is actually going fairly well. Obscuring Fog being up there is absolutely fine because Obscuring Fog is a nightmare. It adds 2 to the Shroud value. If we got it on here, that there would be a 6 to try and like succeed in an investigation, which would have been terrible. Here is fine because there's no need to investigate there. We haven't seen many enemies, so that's potentially a good or bad thing. There's going to be a lot more of enemies in there. We've already had one of the cards that add Doom to your Doom track, which is good. I have seen... I think there are 2 more though, so we have to kind of watch out for that. So I need to think of a card to put under Amanda at this point. I think now it is time to add Prophecy. We don't have enough Doom, but we don't have anything that can really work well. So we'll just do that. Alright. Order right now doesn't matter. That is something that is interesting and would need to be inquired about. But with Frozen in Fear, It says that the first time you perform one of these following actions, move, fight, or evade each round, it costs one additional action. If I do it as the final action of this turn, though, and I've done two other actions, would I be able to do it, or would it not allow me to move? That is a very, very good question. I am going to consult my FAQ. I'm going to see what that says about Frozen in Fear. See if there is a index at the back. There's taboo cards. Alright, fit page for the moment. That's frequently asked questions. Okay, let's have a quick look. Right, there's a type bag. No. Choices in the Grim Rule. Yeah, Grim Rule is basically when when the worst would happen, it happens. Wild icons, taking and losing actions, some ability card and additional actions. Here we go. So, some ability cards grant investigator additional actions. If an investigator has one or more additional actions in a turn, he's qualified to automatically use the action qualifies for more than one additional actions. Yeah, okay. If an effect causes an investigator to lose one or more actions, that investigator may find fewer actions for that turn. If an investigator only has additional actions remaining, and those are lost, for example, effect causes to lose 2 actions, she has 2 fewer actions. Alright, no. That's not what I was looking for. No. Nested skill tests? Skill test which cannot initiate during another skill test. Maintaining deck size, bonded card limit, investigator number of summoned or one or more bonded cards. Those bonded cards are set aside at the start of each game. The number of copies difference the bonded cards set aside equal to the number of copies that were included. Myriad. When counting the total number of experience in your deck, each copy of a Myriad card after the first copy does not count towards your experience total. You and your... nope, that's not, nope. As if, nope. Unless, nope. Alright, this is probably under frequently asked questions. No. No. In the event of a fight like backstab, does it provoke an attack of opportunity? No. Can you trigger the active ability of 5 for +2 damage and +2? No. Each activation is a separate action. You must be resolved before you have the opportunity to take another action. If the effect says to heal damage or horror but is not indicated from where can I use it? Other than myself. No, heal is a shorthand for heal X or horror damage from your investigator. The card simply reads heal X horror or heal X damage. You can only use it to heal damage from your investigator. Cards that allow you to heal other investigators or area assets will specify that. Okay. When the effects and the benefits skill tests. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Nope. Nope. Okay, I think it's not here. That's a little annoying. Yep, it'll be to the Reddit and I'll ask the question there. They will know. Reddit always knows. Or at least they'll be able to get an informed opinion at the very least. For the moment, though, we will apply the Grim rule in that I would need 2 actions to be able to move. So I can't do 2 investigations, then move while frozen in fear, because I would need 4 actions to be able to do so. Grim rule, basically, the worst happens, you don't get a say. Anyway, for the moment though, we will play with... We'll start off with Carolyn. Do you have anything that can help at this point? No. So what we will do is we will we'll use the fingerprint kit. I'll spend the last point for the fingerprint kit. Bring this back into screen, please. Let's pull this out. What we get? Ooh, we got 0. So with the fingerprint kit, we got +1 to our search value. Bosh. So we now have 5 of the 6. Well, we've got full 6, but what we want to do is we want to try and get that extra point of experience. So we will investigate just normally this time. I'm not going to commit anything to the test. -1. Okay, so we fail that. And it's a good thing we've still got 1 action left, so we'll use the final action to try and heal, or try and grab it. -2. Okay, no, we didn't get it. Alright. That's a shame. But hey, it is what happens. So, Amanda. Alright, so we will pay 4 resources to summon the ally, Dr. Millen Christopher. Don't know where he appears from, he just materializes out of nowhere because, you know, magic. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, he gives me +1 book to my base skills. And after you successfully investigate, you can gain 1 resource. He also has an HP of 1 and a sanity of 2. So there are certain asset cards that you can play which do have health and sanity values that you can assign damage to whenever you would take damage. So we have 2 actions left. So we will investigate. This place only has a shroud of 1. Someone got that magic. Everyone has that magic in this place. Oh, bloody hell. We pulled the auto fail again. That's like, what, twice so far? Jesus. Okay. I didn't even commit the skill, but it doesn't matter. So we will go again. We'll try and investigate again, and hopefully we won't pull the auto fail this time around. No, we pulled the -2, and if there is a ghoul at your location, we take 2 points of damage. But we have a random from Prophecy. We have +1 from Dr. Mill and Christopher. So those cancel each other out. Although those two cancel out the tome or tablet negative. So with the 2, we still beat this. So we gain the clue from here. So that will count as an experience towards the end game. And that was my 3rd action of the turn. There are no so okay, at the end of your turn, we test Brains 3 to see if we succeed on that skill test. Now, do we have anything we can commit? Okay. We have Steadfast, which will work. Right? That's 15. Yeah, okay, so we're going to commit 1 card to testing the Frozen in Fear. And we pull Skull, which is -X. X is the number of ghoul enemies at your location. There are no ghouls at this location currently, so that is 0. And Steadfast. While you have 5 or more remaining HP, health and sanity, Steadfast gains an extra knowledge or an extra willpower and an extra might. But if you have 10 or more remaining HP or health and sanity, it gains 2 of those instead. We have 13 HP left, so we would gain the extra 2. But we didn't need it because we would have passed anyway on the flat. So we are now no longer frozen in fear. It is the end of the turn though, so we can unexhaust fingerprints, not that it can be used anymore. They're all back. We gain a resource each. And we gain a new card. So Amanda gains another Practice Makes Perfect. And we gain Fearless. If the skill test is successful, heal 1 horror. Nice. Okie dokie then. So, with that, it's when we check the hand size, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's fine, and I think this should be fine as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's fine. Okay, so Mythos, place 1 Doom on the agenda. So we're up to 2 Doom. Doom. It has not advanced, so Amanda will pull from the encounter deck. She is now frozen in fear. It's going to be a little more difficult for her to remove that frozen in fear, I fear. And Carolyn gets Dissonant Voices. Put Dissonant Voices into your play area. You cannot play assets or events. At the end of the round, discard Dissonant Voices. That is a little annoying. Okay, but we are on to the next round. So, Amanda. We'll go with Amanda first. If we... So, oh, I was meant to get the extra resource from Christopher for successfully completing the investigation last turn. Oh, right, so before that, we also need to draw one card. And then we discard the card that's underneath. That's Prophecy. Alright, we've got Perception, which is Knowledge. Knowledge doesn't matter as much right now. Prophecy will become better in a few more turns. So let us put Perception underneath. For now. And then for 2 actions we will move down back into the hallway, and then we've got one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do I... Yep, so we're going to pay 2 resources and we're going to equip the Kukri with Amanda. So we have a weapon again. So it's probably a good idea to talk about the things that you can kind of equip. So there are certain assets don't have any kind of equipment icon on there. So you can have any number of those. But some of them will have a symbol of a hand. Some of them will have a symbol of like an investigator. Some of them will have a spell symbol. Some of them will have a necklace symbol. Some of them will have like something like a jacket or an armor symbol. So you only have 2 hands. So you can only use 2 hand slots. So that's either 2 one-handed items or 1 two-handed item. If you want to equip, if you've got a 2-handed equipped and you want to equip a 1-hand, you have to discard the 2-hand before you can equip the 1-hand. And vice versa, if you're holding 2 1-hands and you want to equip the 2-handed weapon or item, you have to discard the other 2 assets to your discard pile. You can only wear 1 body item, you can only wear 1 necklace, and you can only wear 1. You can only have 1 ally out at a time, and you can only have 2 spells out at the time. You can only know 2 spells. It does seem a little complex. Yes, it's not like something like Monopoly. I realise that the game is a little on the complex side, but trust me, the game is a lot of fun. Alright, so we've equipped the Kukri, so it's the end of the turn, so we are doing Frozen in Fear. Do we have anything that we could... commit right now? I'm going to risk playing this. I'm going to play the event card. Practice makes perfect. It's costing me 1 resource. So look at the top 9 cards of my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. and I look for a practiced card. Oh god, she has amnesia. Well, none of those are going to have any help, so... So, nope, we'll just shuffle those up. Oh, Jesus Christ, amnesia is not great. Amnesia basically is you pick one card in your hand and you discard the rest. You say that, but you can't currently see it over on the Discord, because there's no real role for it at the moment. But I used to play Neverwinter, and I have a guide for clerics that I wrote personally, and then I have, I think, about 3 or 4 guides for dungeons for Neverwinter. So yeah, I've written instructions before for people. Oh. Ah, Jesus Christ. Frickin' face. Sorry about that. Rather uncouth of me. I don't know if anyone in my old guild reads those. I encouraged people that were looking to learn those things to go and read them. Hell, I'm not even sure if my old guides are still up on my old guild's Discord because I left under not great circumstances. Not my fault. Other drama that I didn't need in the guild, so I'm like, I just noped the hell out of there. But I did say that they could keep using them if they wanted to. My cleric's guide will be outdated. Probably. I can't remember whether my cleric's guide was for the most recent changes that they'd done. I think it was, but I can't remember. Anyway, that was a waste of that skill. Yeah, I mean, it happens. I mean, the thing with that kind of thing is you don't want it to just be a wall of text. What you want it to be is you want it to be something fun to read. Oh, I know they take bloody long. They are a pain to do. Hell, I used to do creative writing. So I know writing can take a very long time. So, what's the next thing to do? Nice, nice. Yeah, I mean that's the only thing. If you kind of break it up with pictures, something else other than just like an uncopious amount of text. I mean, I'll be honest. I'd probably go and read it myself. for when I was getting back into it, because there's probably still some like key concepts in there that would be good to know or to have a refresher on. But as I played the game a decent amount back in the day. I say back in the day, it was probably about a year ago now. It was the last time I played was like just last time I played seriously was just after they released. I think it might have been a couple of patches after they released Amateur's. So I think they just released or were just about to release Discordia. That was the last time I played properly, I think. So I do have a fairly good grasp on what I'm doing and like doing builds and shit like that. That there is the fun part for me. Anyway, I need to get rid of Frozen in Fear. So, oh my god. The only thing that can help me here is the +1 right now. Yeah, because that's not actually going to help. +1 or the Elder Sign? No, it was -0. That's fine with me, so we didn't clear Frozen in Fear. That doesn't add anything to it. We're not successful, so we don't draw a card. So, we're down in the cellar with Carol Ann. Yeah, most battle arenas or MOBAs, you kind of really need to keep playing over and over again to get good. You need to learn the heroes, you need to kind of keep with it. You find out with a lot of games though, so like things like first person shooters, you can have like an innate ability in games. But if you want to get really good, you need to keep at it. You need to keep going and going and going with it. Like, I have I want to say my skill level is probably about just below average in Smite, but I can get by with that. A lot of it will come down to knowing what kind of items you need and stuff like that. Knowing when to engage and disengage. But I played a mean Barkus in Smite. So I can't play any events or assets at this point in time. So is there any cards in my hand that is actually any good at this point? No. Well, we've got a skill card, but we've got an event and 3 assets. So none of those can be played. It's kind of hard. Luckily, there's no monsters, so that's fine. Good night, man. Take it easy, and thank you very much for stopping by. It is greatly appreciated. So for the moment, we are going to try and pull something that is neutral or gives me a +1. So we can try and investigate the cellar. We get -1, and if you fail, you take 1 horror. That is annoying. That is a failure. So we've taken a point of horror. Alright, so investigation number 2. Hey, +1, we succeed. And then we move back here. So, the objective is when the round ends, investigates in the hallway as a group. Spend the required number of clues to advance. Okay, so when the round ends. Oh, they may do it. We don't. There's nothing to say. There's nothing stopping us from doing it. We probably should do it because we don't really want that to. We don't want the agenda to catch up with us. That would be a bad. That would be a bad. Anyway. So, monster phase. We have no monsters currently. That's good. We can ready all exhausted cards. Flip that. That's all fine. Investigators draw 1 card and gain 1 resource. And we gain Vicious Blow for Amanda. And for Carol Ann, we gained Working a Hunch. That is kind of a waste now, but that's fine. And as the round ends, we discard Dissonant Voices. We check the hand size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's fine. Alright, so we add a piece of Doom. Oh, wait, no. So, before we do that, we are going to spend the 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, we've completed the barrier. So, using the barrel from the attic, you carry ice and snow from the cellar and hurl it at the barrier. The barrier sparks and shudders as it consumes the ice, then hisses and fades out of existence. The barrier blocking the passage to the parlour has vanished. Reveal the parlour. So, revealing the parlour, there's nothing there, but it's a Shroud of 2, 0 clues, but you have the ability of Resign. This is too much for me. You run out the front door, fleeing in panic. While Lita Chandler is not controlled by a player, she gains the ability Action Parlay. Test Knowledge 4. If you succeed, take control of Lita Chandler. So, place the set-aside Lita Chandler into play in the parlour. And spawn the set-aside Ghoul Priest in the hallway. Alright, you can't be really seen up there, so we'll just bring it down here a little bit. So when things aren't engaged with people, they go in here. So the Ghoul Priest currently has 4 fights, 5 times 2, or 5 times the number of Investigator, which is 2, so 10 HP and 4 speed. A figure in red robes wearing a bone mask. It gibbers and snarls before leaping to attack. Its prey is the hero with the highest might. It has Hunter and Retaliate. It also does 2 damage and 2 sanity. So, the next act. What have you done? A woman with a torch stands in your parlour, a glimmer of hatred in her eyes. What have you done to my barrier? She screams, furious. Before you can answer, a ghastly wail sounds behind you, and a creature wearing robes and a deer skull mask tears through the walls, advancing towards you. Objective: if the ghoul priest is defeated, advance. Alright. So. It has 10 HP. So we want to place one Doom on there. Doom does not advance. We will draw the Mythos card or the agenda, the encounter card for Amanda. Rotting Remains. Test Brains 3. For each point you fail, take 1 horror. We'll commit 1 card to this. And we pull -1. So we use Prophecy. So that gets 1 random, but we also get +1 random for there being 3 Doom on the board. So the -1 gives us 3. So we pass Rotting Remains. Oh, this would have been committed as well. Test would have been successful, so we draw a card. And we got Dexterity. Okie dokie. And then Caroline, Obscuring Fog. Nope, it's already attached to where we are, so we gain Surge. She has Rotting Remains as well. Okay. Do you have anything that could possibly help? Let's commit 2 cards. We'll see what we pull from the Chaos Pouch. Oh, we got the success, so we get +1. We also had an extra 2 from this, so yeah, I mean, we succeed. We're fearless. Because I succeeded the test, I get to heal 1 horror, which is great, which gives me a resource because of her ability. After one of your cards' effects heals 1 horror from an investigator or ally, the healed card's controller gains 1 resource. With that, with the Elder Sign, with the +1, you may heal 1 horror from an ally or investigator ally asset at your location. After one of your card effects. Heals horror from an investigator ally. Alright, well, we're going to heal the horror from Amanda. That passes. And yeah, she gains the 1 resource. Okay. So that there is the round sorted. Okay, so Amanda's, we draw 1 card. We discard the card that is underneath her. And we place another card underneath. We're going to put manual dexterity. It's not really going to do much, but we'll do it anyway. Alright, so first things first is gonna go and grab Lita. So I'm gonna use Carolyn. She is going to go to the parlor, and we're going to activate the parlay ability. I am going to commit 1. So we are testing books 4, so we're already at 4 with the books. So let's pull a card and see what we get. -1. And we had 2 from working a hunch, so that's at 6. -1 is 5, so we pass. So we take control of Lita. So, while Lita is in your control, while you control Lita Chandler, she gains, each investigator at your location gets +1 might, and a quick ability of when an investigator at your location successfully attacks a monster enemy, that investigator deals +1 damage. And then we're going to move back to the hallway. And that is Carolyn's turn. Next is Amanda. We're frozen in fear, so we can... What can we do? If we do this, we use book. If I discard 2 cards, that gives me an extra 2. So that would bring up to 4, that would bring up to 5. Okay, yep. Let's go with that. So, spending 2 resources. I'm going to... Oh, no, wait a minute. Because we need to... I can't remember... As I think you can't just attack something, it has to be engaged with you. The investigator using the action engaged in one or more enemy against the engaged enemy. The investigator uses actions to attack one enemy at that location. There's a missing combat roll against the family. If the combat test is successful, the attack succeeds and the investigator deals 1 damage. Okay, no, that's fine. And I need to check keyword retaliate. If an investigator fails a skill test when attacking an enemy that has a retaliate, if the enemy is ready, performs an attack, damage and horror against the investigator. No, we can do that because we don't have to be engaged to fight it. So we're going to try and attack the priest. Going to use the occult invocation. It costs me 2. And I'm going to discard emergency cash and practice makes perfect. So occult invocation, the attack uses my book skill instead of my fist skill. And you get +1 book and +1 damage for this attack for each card discarded as part of the card's cost. We commit that because we have to. And we might as... it's all my eggs in one basket, but I kind of have to. Gonna drop these 2, and I just have to hope to the dark gods that this is a good pull. So we're fighting off against its 4 stat. Shit. Oh, bollocks. Well, that was a waste of those cards. Well, it was bound to happen. I mean, that's the 3rd time that I've pulled that token. Alright, and that gets discarded as well. What do we have? Do I have anything that can help? No, we have nothing that can help. I'll wait for that. So I will fight just using the cookery. I've got fight +1 and +1 from Lita being in the same area. -1. Oh, right, and... Oh, it's not... Well, it isn't... Yeah, it would do the damage, wouldn't it? So it's done 4. And 4. I was hoping that I could have done a shit ton of damage to it there. That sucks. Oh, this has gone badly. Alright, now it's the enemy phase. So, Hunted moves towards the nearest investigator. It'll go to Caroline. And it will attack. I have nothing that can stop this, right? No. So 2 and 2 onto Caroline. No, actually, hang on. Sorry, Lita, you are going to be taking a lot of damage to begin with here. Alright. Resource each. And you both get a card. Lab assistant. And first aid. And yeah, no, both hands are fine. We place a doom up here. No doom. Amanda. Grasping hands, test feet. Take a point of damage for every point you fail by. Zero. Hey, we pass, so we get to draw a card. Place one. And you get placed underneath. I was meant to test Frozen in Fear at some point, I guess. Just run that quickly. -1. No, we didn't Get frozen and fear rid of. Carolan. Ancient Evils. Place 1 Doom. Alright, each investigator takes their turn performing their actions. Alright, so... Right. Going to pay 2 as a Sword Cane does not provoke an attack of opportunity, or playing it does not provide an attack of opportunity. So, reaction ability, after it comes into play, I can immediately trigger its active ability without paying its cost. So we're going to exhaust this, and I'm going to attempt to evade. I'm going to commit 2 cards. Oh, actually, I just realised. We'll deal with this first. Commit 2 cards to this test. Then we pull from the bag. -2 if there is a ghoul at your location, take 1 damage. Shit. We do. We succeed, but I still take a point of damage. Didn't want to take that damage at all. Never mind. Alright, so it's evaded, and it gets, whenever you evade an enemy, it gets exhausted. So. I'm then, for my second action, going to pay 2. And I'm going to play Spectral Razor. Fight. Add your willpower value to this attack. Immediately before this attack, you may engage. I'm not going to engage it. This attack deals +1 damage, +2 damage to non-elites. Well, he is an elite. Yeah, he's an elite, so +1 damage. So currently I am fighting with a skill of 6 against his 4. -1. So we managed to do 1. +1 is 2, +1 from Lita is 3 points of damage to it. And then for my third action, I'm going to draw a card. Alright. So, Amanda's, we're going to draw the card for the thing. Amnesia, select 1 card. I'm going to select, I've got a plan, the other 2 I'm just going to discard because they're of no real use at this point in time now. So we still need to pull a card. Oh, this skill's subtracts from it. Forced when choosing a card to place beneath a man the sharp, if Whispers from the Deep is in your hand, you must choose it. So, Whisper of the Deep gets added to the bottom. Alright, so now her turn is pretty much wasted. Oh, Jesus Christ, okay. I am going to draw a card. Okay, that's nice. Didn't realize I had a second one of those in there. I completely forgot about that. And then I'm just going to attack with the kukri on the ghoul. Obviously, we have to commit this card. And then we draw a card, or draw a thing. -1. It's fine because it'll be -2 from that. It's exhausted, so it doesn't get to retaliate. That goes back in there. And we try Frozen in Fear. Well, we're not even going to pass it. That'll do it anyway. Yeah, no. So there is turn. Enemy phase. Enemies with the haunted keyword, whereas we can't move because it's exhausted, so it doesn't attack. Everything gets refreshed because it's now the end phase, or the upkeep phase even. Gain a resource each, and get to draw a card. Stunning blow for Amanda, and for Carolyn we get clarity of mind. That Frozen Fear is hampering me. Place 1 Doom on the agenda. We are up to 6 Doom. This is not going well. What do I have in my hand at the moment? Nothing that can be really any help. And each investigator draws 1 card, so Amanda is drawing... Oh my god, Ancient Evils? My life. A feral beast, roughly humanoid with a canine cast and hooves for feet, tears through the ground in front of you. Below the floor you can see vast tunnels beneath your house. Fiendish howling echoes from deep within the underground caverns. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Discard cards from the top until the encounter deck until a ghoul enemy is discarded. The lead investigator draws that enemy. Alright, everything gets shuffled back in. This is going badly. Alright. And so we discard until a ghoul. Oh look, ghoul. Vicious, ravenous ghoul, prey. Lowest remaining health. Well, it goes on to... It'll go on to Amanda. Shit. Oh my god, that is bad. That is very bad. And then Carolyn pulls fucking Ancient Evils. Jesus Christ. Anyway, they're getting out. You hear a crazed howl outside, and suddenly all the creatures turn their attention to the sound. They rush to escape the house, breaking down doors and clawing at everything in the way. Force. At the end of the enemy phase, each unengaged ghoul enemy moves one towards the parlor. Force. At the end of the round, place one doom on this agenda for each ghoul in the hallway or parlor. We already have a doom on there. The doom is at 10. Ah, shitting, eh? Alright. So, new round. We draw a card. Get rid of this. Whispers of the Deep. Alright. We'll place this card underneath. Placed Stunning Blow underneath. Alright, so... what do we have? I wanted to draw another card. God damn it. Alright, I'm going to attack the Ravenous Ghoul with I've Got a Plan. That gets committed to the attack. It has a fight of 3. And my book score is 3 right now. Fucking hell, -2. Take a point of damage. The thing didn't go through. God shitting hell. And then I'm just going to fight with the cookery against it. Stunning Blow. Please be. -1. So +1 fight is 3, 4, 5. Minus the 1 is, and then we do 2 damage to it, and the enemy is evaded. Alright, so Caroline, what are you going to do, Caroline? Well, first we're going to test the Frozen in Fear here. Hopefully we can get rid of it this time around. Probably not. -1. No, we don't. Alright, let's draw a card, see what we can get. Fine clothes. That's not helpful. Where is it? Do you have anything to add? You add feet. Alright, we'll activate Sword Cane ability. Commit 1 card to the test. In the vain hopes that this works. It probably won't, but you never know. We're going to be attacking the ghoul No, we're going to attack the ravenous ghoul. 0. Should have gone for the priest. Oh well, never mind. Ravenous ghoul is dead. Now I'm going to draw another card. Alright, that works. So, enemy phase. The ghoul is going to engage Caroline, and it's going to attack. I'm going to pay 1, and I'm going to activate the card I just drew, which was Dodge. Fast. Play this when an enemy attacks an investigator at your location. Cancel that attack. So it does not attack me. Upkeep. Refresh cards. Gain a resource and draw a card each. Amanda gets flashlight. It's absolutely useless. And Carolyn pulls mind over matter. That becomes helpful. Okay. Next. Oh, at the end of the phase, we've got 1 ghoul in the hallway. Is it 1? Oh, each unengaged. No, it's engaged, so that's fine. But we do gain 1 doom because it's a new round. Amanda pulls the first one, which is Dissonant Voices. Can't play events or assets. Carolyn pulls Rotting Remains. Test Willpower 3. Each point you fail by, you take 1 horror. And we pull -2. That's 2 points of horror she takes. Alright, new turn. So, draw one card. Jeez, we're running out of cards here. This gets discarded. Screw it. Flashlight, you're going under the card. I need to just double check and see, because I think they're saying that if you run out of cards, something bad happens. Well, I'll look that up later if need be. Alright, well, Carolyn is engaged with the ghoul. So we're going to activate the card Mind Over Matter. Costs me 1. And what this does is it will allow me to use my knowledge instead of my might or speed for this round. For the moment, I'm going to try and evade the ghoul priests. I'm going to commit 1 card to this. Come on, Chaos Pouch, do not fail me now. It was a success, even though I do take a point of damage. Next is going to be I'm gonna attack. I'm just gonna attack using my knowledge skill. +1, nice. So that's another 2 points of damage. And I'm going to attack again. Yep, +1 again. That is another 2 points of damage. So it is currently up at 7. What do we have here? Was anything useful? No, there isn't anything useful. So we are going to fight with the kukri. So we're currently hitting for 4 on its 4. We pull a 0. Wow, its luck is with me. And I'm going to use my final one to do an extra point of damage. So that's 2 from that and 1 from Lita. That is 3 damage to it. And it kills it. So this one has victory. So you would create a separate pile for victory points if there was one. If there was a need for it. So, and it said we advance the act if we kill the ghoul priest. So, with the robed creature, when the robed creature falls, the fiendish swarm burrows back into the ground, and the chaos of the house quiets. But the stranger in your parlour doesn't seem relieved. You broke my seal that was set to trap the ghouls within. She raised her torch. Now we must take more direct measures and burn this hell pit to the ground. The lead investigator must decide. Choose one. It was never much of a home, burn it down, or this hell pit is my home, no way we're burning it. It was never much of a home, burn it down. And then we are going to R1. R1 is resolution 1. So we want to go to this one. So, do not read until the end. If there was no resolution reached, each investigator resigned was defeated. No, we didn't do that. So, we got resolution 1. You nod and allow the red-haired woman to set the walls and floors of your house ablaze. The fire spreads quickly, and you run out the front door to avoid being caught in the inferno. From the sidewalk, you watch as everything you own is consumed by the flames. Come with me, the woman says. You must be told of the threat that lurks below. Alone, we are surely doomed, but together, we can stop it. In your campaign log, record that your house has burned down. I won't be doing that proper, but is there anything here that could be absconded? Oh, I saw something out for that. Alright, so just got you got a piece of paper, or a letter head. So house burned down. The lead investigator earns the Lita Chandler card and may include it in his or her deck. This does not count towards their investigator's deck size. Yes, we are. We are going to include that. So I'm just going to put that into the discard pile for Amanda. So we'll say Lita got Amanda. Or Amanda got a Lita. The lead investigator suffers 1 mental trauma from watching his or her house become a smouldering ruin. Amanda got 1 mental trauma. Each investigator earns experience points equal to the victory value of each card that has victory displayed. Remember to add eligible location cards to the victory display. Each investigator earns 2 bonus experience as he or she gains insight into the hidden world of the mythos. So, we got 6 experience points. So as I said, experience points can be used for purchasing cards. It can also be used to go on to side excursions. I will be putting up a poll on the Discord. So if you do want to take part in said poll and you are watching, please do consider joining via the link below. It should be in the description for the Twitch. If you're watching this on YouTube, unfortunately, it likely would have passed already, so you may not be able to get in on that particular vote. But please do stop by again for other votes in the near future. But yeah, I will put up a vote to say for 2 or 3 different options, because I think we may be able to do like the Blob or go to the Excelsior Hotel, or we just go straight into the next scenario. So those will be the 3 options. So yes. Otherwise, we'll use the experience to buy new cards before the next mission. Yeah, I will likely won't play one tomorrow if we're going to do that vote, because there won't be enough time to get that vote in. So alright, so yeah, we reached the end of that. We're not going to read resolution 2 or 3 because that isn't relevant anymore. It doesn't say to go on to the next into another resolution. Alright. So yeah, that's just dealing with like the expanded. So earning and spending experience. So as an investigator delves deeper, you gain experience. You can use it to purchase cards. So each card, so level 0 cards, they all cost 1 experience. So a card has to cost 1 experience. But I'll explain this a little more whenever we do the level ups anyway. But you can, when you upgrade a card, you need to spend as much experience as the pips, unless if you're buying a new card. If you're upgrading a card, you pay the difference. So if the card was say 1 pip, and the card you're buying or you're upgrading to was 2, or if it's a 0 and 1 and you're upgrading to a 2, you only have to pay the 1 experience to upgrade it. Oh, God, excuse me. Yeah. Trauma, death, and insanity, yeah. So you get trauma, and you take enough trauma equal to one of your starting values, then you will die. And then the next one is the Midnight Masks, and this is where it kind of comes in. So I check the campaign log. If it says Lisa was forced to find others to help her cause, read intro 1. If otherwise, skip to intro 2. So we will be reading intro 2 to start for the next campaign, or for next week whenever we come back to this. So thank you very much for joining. So tomorrow there won't be a stream. And Sunday will be The Room. And then Monday and Wednesday will be Destiny 2 for some more story time. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to get in on that vote, please do join the Discord. If you have been watching this post-VOD or over on YouTube, thank you very much for watching, and please do consider hitting that follow or subscribe button in the relevant locations. If you are over on YouTube, please do consider hitting that like button or leaving a friendly constructive comment. They're always greatly appreciated. And if you do happen to find the time, please do consider coming over and watching live on Twitch. But until next time, stay safe.